Hello and welcome. My name is Aaron Conley, and today I want to share with you a comparison of income per person and fat in the blood, particularly in men. My hypothesis before viewing this data was that as income increases, fat in the blood would decrease. So right here on the bottom, you can see income is on the x-axis. This is also known as the independent variable or explanatory variable. And then on the y-axis on the left, fat in the blood is our response variable or dependent variable. So as income is increasing, we wanted to see would fat in the blood increase or decrease. So if I play this for you, all the dots exposed, all the bubbles exposed here, you can see there is kind of a general down and to the right motion. It kind of looks like overall the line of best fit from 1980 to 2008 sort of follows this lower left to upper right motion. I'll play it one more time so you can see it. So there's a line of best fit that always kind of goes lower right or lower left to upper right. I wanted to highlight a few Western world countries here. There's United Kingdom, United States, and Canada. I wanted you to see these because they kind of follow that same trend down and to the right. As income increases, fat in the blood in men decreases. So I thought that was interesting. It does follow that, my hypothesis that's supported there. Next, though, I did find that some of the countries in the Eastern world, I wanted to do these three for you: China, Thailand, and Japan. If I play these, they don't follow that same pattern at all. Even though the rest of the world on an average is sort of going down to the right, China, Thailand, and Japan, and there were some other countries I found, Vietnam was one of them, are moving up and to the right. So as income is increasing, cholesterol in the blood is increasing. I thought maybe this would be because of Western influence on the Eastern world, importing, boxed food products, more meat like beef and pork. More traditional Eastern cuisine is generally like vegetables, fish, and rice and noodles. Generally what we think of as healthier foods. But as the Western influence came in to the Eastern world, perhaps they were importing some rather unhealthy foods or high cholesterol foods. So I thought that was interesting as well. The last thing I wanted to show you were some that don't really follow the same trends. Nigeria, Russia, Kuwait, and Qatar. I wanted to see these four, and I'll explain my thoughts on why these might have their kind of random movements. So if I play these, you can see Russia kind of starts out like the Western world, United States and stuff, but then has a dip in income and kind of recovers. Nigeria has, from the very get-go, was decreasing in their income per person. They came around and kind of stabilized, and actually, as income started to increase, sort of like China and the Eastern world, as income was increasing here in the last few years, so was the cholesterol in the blood. And then over here, Kuwait and Qatar, I'll just zoom in on these because they're smaller so you can see them better. They had crazy stuff going on. Big dips in income. Kuwait, especially, look over here at 1991. Big dip in income in the early 90s. Qatar had similar things going on over here. 1991 in Qatar was when they were at their lowest income per person. They're very rich countries due to the oil industry and their dealings with that. But I believe that because of these dips, that they were experiencing some fluctuations due to the conflict in Operation Desert Storm and things that were going on over there in the late 80s and early 90s. After a quick Google search for Russia in 1998, because I noticed that this was the lowest income per person in 1998, I found that they had a big financial crisis. So it must have been building up in the early 90s and finally came to a head in 1998. But then as that stabilized in the 2000s, the cholesterol levels started to stabilize, and they were kind of on this even out trend, stayed around 5 millimoles per liter of cholesterol. And then in Nigeria, income was decreasing for a long time from 1980, and then kind of fluctuated until about the late 90s. And then there was a big jump in the early 2000s. There was a presidential election that had some controversy that possibly could have something to do with this. Also some World Cup events, it looks like, through a quick Google search. Anyway, the economy stabilized and people were having more money and maybe spending more money on foods and importing meats and things like that. It's just kind of my hypothesis, but the cholesterol levels actually started to rise here in the mid to late 2000s. So that's my presentation. I hope you enjoyed and kind of see what I'm talking about, see what I'm seeing here. I'll play the whole thing so you can see it again. You can kind of see some of those bubbles in there bouncing around doing crazy stuff. There's a lot to look at and a lot to research, but I wanted to show you a few of my insights as to what was going on. So thanks for listening, and I hope you have a great day.